So this is fascinating. There's a guy who was the co-author, the ghost author of Donald Trump's Art of the Deal. And his name was Tony Schwartz.
Tony Schwartz.
Schwartz. And he is now, of course, living with, not of course, a tremendous amount of regret. I mean, let this be a cautionary tale for you folks. When you have that one decision in your life where you feel you're at a moral crossroads, and on one hand, you see money. On the other, you see possibly creating, maybe it's a little bit of hyperbole to say, like, the next Hitler. You know that question of, like, would you have killed the baby Hitler or something like that? Or that movie in Boys for Brazil where the guy's going around killing all of, like, Hitler's clones. This is not quite like that. Yeah, it's sort of quite like that. It's similar to that. I'm not going to say it's the same. It's different. Because, of course, these cloned little baby Hitlers in the Boys from Brazil, they could have been raised in such a way that they weren't necessarily bound to be there. But when Donald Trump was in his 30s, you could see perhaps maybe empowering this guy might be a problem. I don't know if you could have realized those many years ago that it could be this dangerous of a problem. But I can tell you, it's weighing pretty heavily on Tony Schwartz. Here he is with George Stephanopoulos on Good Morning America, explaining why he put lipstick on a pig. And I think that's sort of understating it.
Really what I'm talking about is character, and every American ought to be concerned about his character. If
that's the case, why keep your silence for so long?
Because we had a successful experience together. I never in a million years thought he would run for president. Had I thought that 30 years ago, I wouldn't have written the book. But for 29 years, I didn't think he would, and it didn't seem like it was important to speak out. I now feel it's my civic duty. I have nothing to gain from this. I've made a decision and already have given every dollar of my royalties I've earned over the last year since he announced for president to a series of nonprofit causes aimed at the people whose rights Donald Trump wants to abridge, immigration groups and the like.
You said in the past that nothing you wrote in The Art of the Deal was on its face false. Do you stand by that?
You know, no, I suspect there are quite a number of things that were false. I mean, right in the middle of while I was writing this book, he was telling me about these great stories about his 3 casinos and how successful they were, while at the very same time, all 3 of them were going bankrupt. So no, it's full of falsehoods.
You regret writing the book?
I do regret writing the book. Had he not run for president, I wouldn't regret writing the book. But if in any way this contributes to his being elected president, you know, I think this is a man who has more sociopathic tendencies than any candidate in my adult life that I've observed. And so, yeah, I do regret writing the book.
That's pretty strong words. More sociopathic tendencies than anyone. And he's no spring chicken who has ever run for president before. And I like the fact I had to think about it. Like, oh yeah, no, tons of things we put in there that were lies. Just off the top of my head, all this stuff about his casinos doing well, they were all near bankruptcy. And that's probably one of those stories is probably about how Trump's dad went in or sent in his consigliere to buy $3.6 million worth of chips, which was essentially a gift to Donald, and then walked out with those chips, which, of course, is against the gambling regulations in New Jersey. So Trump was fined for $50,000. But it's basically just a way of giving someone money and without being subject to the same sort of tax issues. Of course, it becomes part of the operating issues, but
which
it is a transfer.
That's what Bill Bradley said his whole career was built on.
Donald Trump?
Yes.
Was built on what?
On sort of that type of sort of tax scheme and exploiting those connections.
So that's come out too. David K. Johnson wrote quite a piece about that. So there it is, folks. Cautionary tale. When the guy comes to you and asks you to ghostwrite his book, think twice. he may end up someday running for president and being a total sociopath. So, hello, you. I'm Sam Seder. Looking for smart progressive talk that is occasionally amusing? Well, subscribe to our YouTube feed. Subscribe to our podcast. Like us on Facebook. And just generally enjoy us.